It's been almost 3 years since deadly fires broke out all across the Hawaiian island of Maui. Those fires were driven by drought conditions, hurricane-force winds, and flammable vegetation, leading to the destruction of over 2,200 buildings. More than 100 people were killed in what is now recognized as the deadliest wildfire in over a century. Thousands of lawsuits were filed, including many against the Hawaiian Electric Company for the ignition of the fire. Those allegations included failure to de-energize power lines, poor maintenance, and more. But as families wait for their share of the $4 billion settlement, many believe they won't get enough to cover the damages. Joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, this is a tough one. You know, you're looking at $4 billion. You're thinking, well, there's enough of the pie to go around when you spread it out there. But a lot of these survivors won't even be compensated.
And may not even break even.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's when they say it's a fair settlement, I guess that's all in the eye of the beholder. I mean, if you get your piece, maybe you think it's fair, but this is tough. Is this normal?
There are not unlimited resources. Let me start there. And so I remember when I handled personal injury cases years ago, I was handling a young lady that was in a car accident with maybe 7 different cars. And I remember talking to the insurance adjuster and saying, hey, there's only one pot. And it's kind of whoever gets to that pot first, because if you're the 7th person attempting to pull from a policy that has a cap limit on it, you may be limited. And so this scenario is a little bit different than a 7-car pileup. You're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars or $1 million policy. You're talking about billions. 4.3 billion should be coming out June of this year. Took 2 years to settle, but there are a number of things that are an issue here. You got, first of all, a ton of plaintiffs. 21,000 plaintiffs, 94,000 different claims in 10 different categories that they're attempting to put these individuals in to determine where they will get their compensation from. Those different categories are complicated, and because they're so complicated, it's going to make making payouts to these individuals extremely convoluted, and some people will get, millions, and some people will get hundreds, and trying to figure out what that looks like is going to complicate it for the individuals that are involved. But then you got parties that are involved. You got attorneys that want to get paid. You got
taxes. You got Uncle Sam, federal
taxes.
You got
insurance that wants to get paid. And so looking at the attorneys, that's the key part. The courts are reluctant to even want to give them below what the normal standard would be, which is the 33 1/3. Attorneys are asking for 25%. And the judge kind of balked at that, saying, you're asking for $1 billion of this settlement? And he kind of said, well, what if I gave you 2%? Kind of like in a flippant approach. And so for me, this case will set the tone for cases like this going forward, because if you have attorneys that aren't going to get paid for the work that they're doing to try to reach a settlement, it's going to be hard for attorneys to want to jump on here. Also, insurers are going to say, hey, you're not trying to pay me and compensate me for some of the things that we had to do to ensure that people were made whole in this moment. It's really, really becoming a contested issue across the board for those 3 entities.
Well, what I was going to say, Khalif, I'm trying to compare this closer to home to Hurricane Helene a couple years ago. I know we got a wildfire and we're talking hurricane, but you still have millions and billions of dollars of damages, hundreds of people losing their lives, people wanting to know, well, what could we have done to prevent certain things, right? When you've got natural disaster settlements like this, help peel back the curtain of the judicial system here. Do you have a judge or a court that makes an order saying, okay, $4 billion is a settlement? And then is that turned over to like a finance committee in the legal department going, okay, now we have to decide who does get what share, who's at the top of the priority list?
I like that question. And so, first of all, any settlement that comes in front of the court has to be approved by the judge. And so just like the NCAA settlement, just like the California Pacific gas explosion that happened out there, when they had that settlement, you have individuals that are placing these claims. Then you get attorneys that come together and they come to some type of settlement. Both sides have agreed, but the court will still ultimately make a determination. And so they have to work out all these, well, who gets paid, what percentages. And so they typically will have a claims administrator, and there will be a team on something like this. They probably have an army of attorneys and an army of administrators looking at this and trying to figure out, well, where do they fall in that list, like I mentioned before, of 10 different categories. Some of the things in those categories are, was there loss of life? Was there loss of property? Well, what size of the property? How much loss of life? I know we're talking about morbid types of things, but those are the categories that you have to consider. And so when they're placing folks into those categories, I mean, there's an algorithm there, and that's how they came to this number. So way before we got to $4 billion, folks were looking at these categories, and one side was saying, well, this is what we need to satisfy this amount. The other side is saying, hey, you may not need that amount, and that's how they came to this $4 billion. But now itemizing these 21,000 individuals and putting them in there is going to be Herculean type of task. And so I'm not sure how quick it can get done, but yes, once it's settled and finalized, it will go over to those folks, and the judge will instruct them to make sure that they break these settlements payments down appropriately.
Khalif, quickly, you've spent enough time with families over all these years practicing law. When a family is seeking damages, sure, money can help. It does. It just puts a Band-Aid on the hurt, the loss that someone may be going through. What do families say, on average, that they want for justice? I guess it depends on what the case is, but I mean, that's a tough one.
It definitely does, but I can tell you what some of these family members are saying. They just want to be made whole. One individual I looked at, she said that they had a house that housed not just her immediate family, but 15 other of her extended family. And so they said the insurance was giving her $1.5 million to rebuild. She said that won't even rebuild half of it. So back to the insurance and getting part of the money. Part of the settlement is that these insurance companies that already paid out money will get 10% of the settlement victims' money. And so if she's getting $1.5 million, they'll get $150,000 of her money. So she's frustrated about that. You only gave me half of what I need to build my house, and you're attempting to take part of it. So this settlement is not just frustrating because of what happened. I should say the scenario is frustrating because the settlement is not going to make really anyone happy.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's tough. All right. Thank you, Khalif. Appreciate that. Got another topic with him coming up at 9.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.